Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and we're going to see if TODD McFARLANE, one of the nicest guys in the history of comics, could maybe put his foot in his mouth. Let's check this out. This is an interview from Shartimus Prime. Yeah, that guy. If you like to look at toy reviews, he's actually my second favorite. I like the Foosh guy better, Robo. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I still like Shartimus a lot. The guy's awesome, you know? Let's get taking a look at this little interview. It's not very long. I'm going to review it. This is fair writing copy. I'm going to be talking over this a little bit, and I may pause, so deal with it. Okay, let's go.
Again, I'm not saying that I can't sell a female superhero, which I can't. What I'm saying is that I can't do an entire line of 4 figures in one series of nothing but females and put it in the boys action aisle. Can I sell it as an Amazon exclusive or a Spawn.com exclusive? Yeah, maybe. But not at the boys action figure aisle. There's a reason why it's called boys action figure aisle.
Okay, let's take a look at that right there. Does this sound like it's a terrible thing to say? Yeah, to the, far super hypersensitive crazy left that believes anything that their overlords tell them. But for the free thinkers, no, you can actually listen to what the guy's saying. And that's really important. Listen, you got to look at what actually happens as opposed to what you think he's saying, right? At the end of the day, if you go on this without any agenda, without any objective, without any sense of, no, he's got to be saying this or else, no. If you just go in and say, I'm just going to listen to what he says. What he just said there is essentially, this is coming from a guy with a whole lot of experience and a whole lot of history in this, right? Boys action line. Okay? Plenty of toys for girls, all right? In this world where we like to think that there's no difference between boys and girls and anything else, right? There are differences. It's one of the reasons why different people are fighting so that we recognize their difference, right? In the trans and queer community, there are a whole lot of people saying, I'm not a boy and I'm not a girl. They are both different from what, I am, from what we are, all that stuff. So right there, even if you're coming from a trans or queer type of mentality, you absolutely cannot refute the fact that there are clear and evident differences between boys and girls alone. Forget about the fact that you're fighting for your own rights and whatnot. So let's just seriously stop and actually put your thinking cap on and think about what he's saying here. The boys section versus the girls section. There is no they be section. There's no such thing. There's not, maybe at that young kids don't care, right? But eventually people grow up. It's socialized with each other. Parents don't have to have anything to do with it. It's just the way that things are, right? It's just the way that things are. Some people are going to be into this. Some people are going to be into that. And the majority of men and women, boys and girls, will like certain kinds of toys. He's talking about selling things in the boys section, right? And making an entire line of all female action figures and putting them in the boys line. I want you to stop for a second and imagine what that would look like. Okay? Stop for just a second and think, what would that have to look like for it to sell? A whole bunch of different versions of Wonder Woman, maybe throw in a couple of Harley Quinns in there, right? What exactly would have to be done in order to actually sell a line where, let's say it's a Build-A-Figure, okay? Let's take it from the Marvel Legends section, if not from his section. 6 figures, plus a 7th one that doesn't have a Build-A-Figure piece. It's just the staple piece, right, that you're probably going to buy anyway. Then 6 other figures in this group of 7 that will have a piece of a Build-A-Figure also. What is the female Build-A-Figure piece Build-A-Figure supposed to actually be? What should it be? We can look at the old DC Universe Classics line, right? Let's say we're going to build Giganta. That is awesome. I had Giganta when I was younger. 2011, that stuff, went the way of the dodo when I moved out of the country, right? I would love to get my hands on a Giganta again. But what exactly would you have to sell in that line in order to get that? a whole bunch of figures, right? A little diversity. A little diversity. Because if you're only selling 2 different versions of Wonder Woman, right? And let's say you were selling I don't know, back then there weren't as many female, but let's say you threw in a Catwoman, you threw in a Cheetah, right? What else are you going to throw in there? Like all the female figures in there. Okay, cool. So you've got one wave where it's all female figures. What female figures are left to be able to sell in different lines where you've got an overwhelming majority of male figures and a minimal version of female figures able to be sold? Right? Now all of a sudden everybody's going to say, how come you've got wave after wave after wave of all male figures? Where are any female figures in there rather than dotting them? And this isn't a Todd McFarlane problem. He doesn't make comic books anymore aside from Spawn, right? For the most part, he doesn't work for Marvel where he's going to make a whole bunch of different comics and whatnot. He still puts Spawn out because he puts Spawn out. His real money's coming from making toys and his Kickstarters and all that crazy stuff, right? Selling the individual females, throwing one in there, here and there, he's going to try and do what sells. Why? Because it's what sells. He's a capitalist living up here in Canada. He's trying to make some money. He's trying to make a living. He's trying to do the best he can, trying to provide the most that he can for his family while he is still here on this earth. He's got years of experience making and selling toys. Making and selling toys, which is something that most of us do not have that experience with. I am willing to go with an expert in this particular case. The She-Ra line did not do as well as the He-Man line way back in the day. Did pretty good. It did pretty good, but it wasn't the best. I know I wanted Hordak. He was awesome. And She-Ra was kind of cool. My sister had her, so, we're good. But after that, I had Teela. How many other girls were there in that line, though, right? It was about getting the guys who were going to kick butt and take names. And let's go. And even though my sister got a whole line of She-Ra toys also because my dad was trying to be equal and buy us, you want He-Man? I'm going to get you some She-Ra. The problem is she wanted Barbies. The problem is that she wanted Barbies. All right? You go with what the people want. Listen, if any woman or modern day feminist, whatever, wants to say, no, Bill, you're wrong, and Todd McFarlane is a misogynist, and da-da-da-da, that's fine. Here's a simple thing. Go and look at toy sales. How about you, all the women band together, show me how important this is, show all of us, teach us a lesson, put us in our places, and buy out all the female action figures that you find in the boys section. Buy them out and make it so that there's a huge demand because we want to get that Build-A-Figure piece, right? That comes with something else, or we actually do want that female character, whatever, right? You could just simply think of the Captain Marvel line. There are still a whole lot of Captain Marvel wave figures sitting on that shelf. And you had a single scroll and 2 different kinds of Kree in there, which are army builders. I made sure I got 4 each. 4 of each. 4 of the black Kree, 4 of the white Kree, and 4 of the Skrulls. I think I might have actually gotten 6 of the Skrulls, but army builders, we wanted those. I only needed 1 gray gargoyle, right? And for the sake of conversation, I got 2 of the Captain Marvels. I never even bothered to get the binary one because, you're going to sell 3 Captain Marvel figures in one wave? Really? Why? It didn't make sense. And then a Nick Fury. I might have gotten 2 of the Nick Furies because it's a character in a suit, and I can always pop off that head and boop, make it into somebody else. And, a character in a suit it was fairly rare back in the day, Plus, it was young Samuel L. Jackson, very different from the other Nick Fury. So it is what it is. But all of them had a reason to be bought. And of course, all of us wanted at least 3, most of us wanted at least 3 of the sentries that you build with it, right? But those Captain Marvel figures, especially the binary one, the singular one that didn't need to come with a Build-A-Figure, go into your, if you're in Canada, go into your Toys R Us's, go into your Walmarts, go and look on websites and whatnot. Those figures are still to this day available. They're on discount racks, and they're still having, years later, still having difficulty selling those figures. And the movie had just come out. Doesn't hurt, it doesn't help that the movie wasn't the greatest thing in the world either, right? And there was the super ramped up, feminism thing. Bro, men and women should be treated, for the most part, equally. Everybody should have 100% equal opportunities. But You can't make somebody like something that they're just not going to like. And you're not a misogynist if you don't like this, that, or the other thing. It's just your preferences. That's all it is. In this particular case, I'm going with this guy who knows a whole lot, and boom. See if something else happened, because what's funny here is you see Shartimus Prime. He's just like, dude, this guy, like, he's biting his lip. He's like, please look at my body language. Please see my body language and see this is not cool, man.
Your son comes home and he gets straight A's for a year, and you go, you know what? We're gonna buy you a gift. Your dad and I are going out, and we're gonna bring you a gift. We're gonna bring you action figures. Oh, I'm gonna get me this girl figure, and then you're gonna come home and you're gonna give it to your kid. And he's gonna be super anxious because he's been waiting all day, and then you're gonna pull out of the bag and you're gonna give it to him, and he's gonna go, but he's just gonna ask. Thank you, but before I go to my room, can I just sort of ask a couple questions, Mom and Dad? Did they have any superhero dudes? Oh, yeah. Okay. Did they have any robots? Oh, yeah, lots of robots. Should have seen monsters, of course. Creatures, yes. Military, yes. Okay, they had all of that. And what about dinosaurs, aliens? Oh, shit, you should have seen the pigs. And you got me the female figure, right? You got me the female figure. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but somewhere along the line, serial killers begin at a certain spot.
This is the part where Shartimus pretty much loses. He's like, oh, God, I can't believe you just went there. Wow, like, I thought maybe we could contain this simply. You just went serial killer. That is freaking hysterical. To me, that is hysterical. And it's hysterical because of joke. And I mean, clearly you could tell that he doesn't mean it. He's not thinking like serial killers because you got me a girl toy. There's no one single action. But I think my interpretation of what he's saying is the idea of trying to get people to like something that you don't like, especially when they're young and they're impressionable and they don't know exactly what they want. You force something on them. And we see this stuff all the time. You don't get the kid the toy that they want. You know what I'm saying? I'm not nearly as good at guitar as I wish I were, because I asked for a Pac-Man electrical guitar when I was a kid. My parents didn't buy it for me. And I still remember that to this day. To this day, I still remember I wasn't given that toy. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of sort of breaks my, and we had the money for it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a toy, but, I wanted to learn how to play guitar. I was, I guess, 4. And I always tested well for musical theory whenever we had the music classes and whatnot, Yeah, it's a shame. I didn't get it. So to this day, it still bothers me. And this is one of those situations, like if you're going to get one toy and you get the girl figure and you're a guy and you want to, monsters and robots and blowing things up, right? It's one of those things. It's like, dude, stop trying to buy for your kid. Don't buy for society. I mean, is that the worst thing in the world to say? Stop trying to, virtue signal to other people at the expense of your child. Know who your kid is. Look at who he's reading. Look at who he's, watching on TV. Look at, who he's playing on the video games and whatnot. I mean, it is what it is. In order to sell a whole line of girl figures, you'd have to have some really sexy looking freaking figures. You know what I'm saying? Like, like some of the stuff that you used to see in Image Comics back in the day. You have to have those Jim Lee X chicks with the boobs that were so freaking big, no woman could possibly stand. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't stand erect like that. Guys would stand erect. Girls could not stand erect like that. They'd be bent over, which would probably make the guys more erect. Look, I'm just saying, like, it's not cool. You know what I'm saying? There's some things that are simply unacceptable, some things that are just a little bit misogynistic. At the same time, didn't those books sell better than pretty much any other book out there? And this was Marvel's understanding that we don't need Chris Claremont because we got Jim Lee. As long as he keeps on making those X people look like that, hey, So I don't know what to tell you. Like this is a little boy, and I blame Jim Byrne for starting all that stuff, but that's neither here nor there. Look, at the end of the day, all of this stuff, man, like this is factual. It's factual because you can look this up and it's demonstrable in the fact that you can actually ask little boys, hey, what do you want? We go to get pizza just last Monday. Just last Monday. Sorry, I wanted to be accurate. And I bring my oldest son with me, all right? Kid's 8 years old. We go and we start, like it's 20, 25 minutes till the pizza. All right, cool. So we go over here and here's a little thrift store. I've never been here before. So we go into the little thrift store. We're looking around all over the place, right? What do you think that this kid's looking at? You think he's looking at the Barbies? He's not interested in the Barbies. I never went and put toys in his hand. I've never done that before. He grew up, he chose what he wanted to watch by me flipping through the channels. You interested in this? You interested in this? Right? They like Heidi, the cartoon Heidi, old school cartoon. Because my wife is like, their mom was like, oh, hey, yeah, hey, boop, 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 boop. Look, Heidi, this was my favorite show when I was younger. So they like it. They've never once asked for a Heidi toy. I hate to break it to you, but I'll tell you what. I saw like rhinos and tigers and lions, stuff like that. He's like, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. I was like, yeah, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you know what, you're right. Plenty of other toys there too. You know what I'm saying? There were little teddy bears. He wasn't interested in that. The closest thing to a stuffed animal he was interested in was one of those little dogs that mechanical, they bounce and bark, but they painted it to look like a Pikachu, but it was clearly a dog. He's like, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if I want that though, but he likes the Pokemon stuff. He plays Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu all the time on a Switch, But like this kid, he specifically said, can I have that 30-foot tall Godzilla? It wasn't 30 foot tall, but the damn thing was huge, all right? That's what she said. That's what I said too. But the chick at the counter is like, wow, that thing is huge. Yes, thank you very much. Anyway, my kid wanted the freaking Godzilla. I didn't buy him the Godzilla. I'm not going to buy a freaking $30 Godzilla at a freaking thrift store. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how hard it's going to be to wash that thing? It's not my point. My point is, he wanted the Godzilla. He wanted the monster. That's what he wants. My kids stay up when they earn tablet time, playing with their tablets. Bro, they're sitting there trying to scare themselves. My oldest son, he likes Siren Head. My youngest son, he likes that Poppy Playtime Huggy Wuggy thing, right? They love scaring themselves with stuff like that. I pay attention to what I never looked up Siren Head. I never found Siren Head for them. They found it on their own. They found Poppy Playtime Huggy Wuggy and all that stuff. They found that stuff. They like that stuff. They do these little phone calls with the cartoon cat thing, and you touch it and it like makes a phone call to you, a fake phone call, and and it starts talking to you like, oh, and they love scaring themselves. They love that stuff. They don't look up Barbie or any of the other, like the Polly Pockets or whatever the hell else is out there. They have no interest in that stuff. Stop making decisions of what you do, of what the kids do and don't like for them. Instead, pay attention to your kids with the things that they like. My youngest son's going to get a freaking Huggy Wuggy birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese next month. You know why? Because he clearly likes this stuff, and I like to think I'm a good parent, and I observe this stuff. I'm not going to force him into a My Little Pony. They'd be like, no, you'll love it. No, just really stop crying. You'll love it. My Little Pony, they're so fun. It's very inclusive and stuff like that. And maybe more girls will want to come to your birthday party. And you'd be like, F the girls. I don't want the girl. You better not say F the girl, but you know what I'm saying, right? Listen to what your kid wants. Don't be a dope. Oh, don't sit there. What, you're going to go and have a My Little Pony birthday party for your little boy when he clearly wants the monster stuff to come in? Right? What? So you could put out a little tweet, a little TikTok post, so you get a whole bunch of likes? Like, why would you ever do something like that? That's pure insanity to me. You're making your kids hate you so you can get likes from strangers and bots? Some people, right? Guys like tools. I have tools. I can fix your loose screws. Ask me how. Wow, that is insanity. Let's watch the rest of this. Only like 33 seconds left of this.
At some point, once you told your kid you walked away from monsters and aliens and dinosaurs and super, like, what are you talking about? We're dudes. We're little boys. Come on, man.
Or Transformers.
You can't sell exclusive. I'm just saying. I tell that story when you're selling at the masses. When sometimes I'm dealing with people and they want me to do 2/3 of my line is the villains and or the females or the kid characters. I go, dudes, can't.
Yeah. And it goes on with whatever, and he just kind of lets it go. But anyway, like, this is a guy who actually had, when they say, oh, so-and-so has the receipts. Guess who has the receipts in this conversation? TODD McFARLANE. He has receipts of what sells and what doesn't sell. They got all the little SKU numbers, the little item numbers, all that stuff, the inventory numbers to put on the boxes. And they'll know. When I know there's a lot of people who go and they buy the store, and they're gonna try and tell me differently. Oh, when you go to Walmart, or you go to Toys R Us, or you go to GameStop, or you go to EB Games or whatever, all these different stores that sell these toys, all they know is what comes in because of the main SKU. That's the main SKU. But look at the boxes themselves. They'll have individual item numbers. Just because the stores don't care which one sells, because they get them in boxes. They get them in they get the whole wave. They get them in boxes like that, a wave box. You'll see them if you look for them. So they don't care which ones do and don't sell. When they sell down a little bit, they order new ones. They order another box or two. Every 2 weeks or so, that's what usually winds up happening. They order another box or two, depending on how fast they sold. That's simply the way that it works. But as far as like Todd and Marvel, DC, and all these other different companies, and the Hasbro and Mattels and all that stuff, they know specifically which ones are and are not selling. They can see it. It's right there. They can tell. They have marketing teams to go out and look for these sort of things. They listen to the people making, sometimes they don't listen, but they will listen sometimes at least. What do you want next? What figure do you want to see next? Stuff like that. It's a boy-dominated market. And let me ask all the boys out there right now, which new Barbie doll do you want to see out? Which new My Little Pony do you want to see out? Do you want to see Rainbow Bright make a return? Like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Do you actually like the other stuff? Look, go for what you like. If you're buying for you, buy what you like. If you're buying for somebody else, buy what they like. If you're going to go to somebody, let's adult this a little tiny bit here. If a friend of mine is getting married and he doesn't have a gift registry, so that makes it harder for us. We got to try to figure out something that they might like, right? So you go out and you're going to frickin', try to find something. But if they've got a gift registry, why would you go outside of that gift registry to get something? At the very least, look at what they want and what somebody hasn't bought yet and find a cheaper version if, you can't afford something, right? But when someone tells you, this is what I want, why would you go and say, I'm going to buy you a toaster that wasn't on the gift registry? Oh, and they'll be kind. They probably won't say anything to your face. But see how often you get brought over for drinks later. You might get brought over for toast. No butter, no jam. You didn't buy them that. But they'll let you know somehow. It's one of the, that's the thing where they wind up getting, it doesn't even get open because they're going to re-gift that crap. They're going to try and use that gift receipt and get their money back. I'm telling you, why would you buy outside of the gift registry? Same exact thing with your kids. It's the same exact thing with your friends. Why would you buy outside of their registry? It's a weird freaking thing for me, where the overload of social justice, and I believe that we should all be treated, based on how a person treats you, right? You can't treat everybody equally. There's some people I can't stand. It has nothing to do with their religion. Well, sometimes it has something to do with their religion if they're like extremists. It's like, dude, I don't care if Jesus is coming back. Shut up. It's like, it's not my business. It's not my business. If it will later, cool. I look forward to it. Jesus forgives, right? So I'm good, right? Like, I don't want to know about your religion unless I ask you about your religion. I'm not going to be your friend because you're black. I'm going to be your friend because you're a cool person, right? I'm not going to ask you what language you speak because I want to judge you. I want to know because I speak a bunch of languages too. I want to practice my language, and you're my guinea pig. Deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to, want to work with you because you're a girl or a guy or something. Like, no, I'm going to judge you based on your knowledge, your merits, who you are, how you treat me, how you fit in with my friends. Like, do you sit there and start gossiping about them? Do you say something mean about this one over there or that one over there? Right? Maybe you come in and you're a little racist. Who knows? At the end of the day, I'm going to treat everybody differently. I don't like everybody in my wife's family. There's some people I just don't like. I don't talk to them. And there's some of them who don't like me. Hey, guess what? That's what happens when you marry into another family. You know? And not everybody in my family's vice versa. Like, there are family members I don't like. People who are directly related to me by blood, and I don't like them. I'm not racist towards these people. Like, we're related, for crying out loud. We're going to like and dislike who we're going to like. Sometimes some of this crazy stuff, it just needs to go away. I know that there's going to be a movement to try and cancel freaking Todd McFarlane. It's probably already started, you know? And it's a shame, but this is what happens when you get involved with that cancel culture type crowd, right? Poor Patton Oswalt, who I've never really liked because he was too big into that cancel culture nonsense. And he got cannibalized by his own multiple times. Had to disavow a friend who just said, you want to come and play a set, open for me, and make some money, Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle just got finished making this guy a whole bunch of money. But here's a bunch of people on Twitter who are going to try and drag him, and he's going to go and write this big long apology and disavow his friend who just made him a bunch of money. What did these people do for you? Let them show their tickets. Let them show their tickets to your last show. That's what I want. Let's see that. Nah, man. Stuff like that, it poisons and it damages the brain, you know? No. Judge people on their merits. Judge people on their history. Not the thing that they said right now, and maybe I could be the one to cancel this person. Because, bro, all you're doing is letting people know who you are so they can cancel you too. I'm glad I got out of that nonsense before I got too steeped into it. It seems like I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you from experience, it seems on the outset like the right thing to do, to try and look for equality, right? Equality for everyone. But when you understand, when you start to see the deep-seated underlying malfeasance of some people, it really makes you reconsider who you're associating with. It genuinely does. And these are people who will bite your head off. Even though you were there biting, snapping with all of that, they'll bite your head off right away also. Todd McFarlane is one of the nicest people on the face of the planet, but he also wants to make money. And how dare he speak out loud? How dare he tell you what he's thinking? We don't have free speech. We don't have freedom of thought. You're guilty of wrongthink. How dare you? Because right now the cultural fad is, F the cultural fad. I'm at that age where I'm starting to look at people on my lawn and thinking, y'all need to go home. Y'all need to get off my lawn right now. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You're on my lawn. It is what it is. One of the nicest people in the world. If you ever get to meet this guy and shake this guy's hand, one of the nicest people you could ever imagine meeting, and a true fan of the comics, of art, of these figures. He gets into it, and he gets into it with the fans, man. He's the guy who'll stage dive, and when you put him down, he doesn't run back on stage. He starts giving everybody hugs. You know what I'm saying? Not just for saving his life and not moving and letting him freaking crack. No, he actually likes the fans. He really does. Boys and girls. He likes everybody. And it's heartbreaking to see that this guy is getting dragged right now from this nonsense. This is the world that we've made. Meanwhile, there are political moves being made all over the world that are potentially going to raise our taxes, potentially send us to war and blah, blah, blah. But Todd McFarlane, curse him. You're cursed. Anyway, I'm out, guys. Love each other. For real. Stop trying to eat each other. I mean, unless they ask you, in which case, domerize whoever you want. All right, I'm done. Have a good day. Talk to you later. Like the frickin' video before I give you a smack. And watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.